Thank you. Thank you very much. In the Muslim society, I witnessed a woman who sent 5 of her children to die in suicide bombing attacks, one after another. She would put the explosive belt on them and bless them and say, go kill the Jews. To gain respect in her society. This is hypocrisy. My father disowned me because he's a hypocrite. On a personal level, he's a loving father. But when he puts the Hamas mask that he cannot exist without, he's a monster, he's something else. But we cannot fool ourselves. There is an Islamic problem. Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, ISIS, Boko Haram, all of them are killing by the name of Allah. They're not killing by the name of Jesus. They're not killing by the name of Jehovah. They're not killing by the name of Mahavira or the Buddha or Lao Tzu. They're killing by the name of Allah. There is an Islamic problem, and I think humanity needs to stand against this danger, because this danger is not only against the state of Israel. This danger, thank you. This danger is against the evolvement of mankind. The Muslim people have a problem, and their problem is in their belief system. They have to face it, and we need to encourage them to fight the good fight, as I did. When the president of the free world stands and say, that Islam is a religion of peace, he creates the climate, he provides the climate, the perfect climate to create more terrorism.
What the fuck, America?
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, give it all the chivalry. Overheard in a broke man soliloquy. Bust guns on, break them down lyrically. Ring bells out, talk about liberty. Not tripping, shit got cigarette. Far from the truth in which proximity? Real authenticity, can't rate well when you're false officially. Leave marks, leave parts of history. Who do we charge for the scars initially? Watch your enemies. Everybody brother ending up shot Kennedys.
So, wow, a jarring film of Mossab Youssef. He's a son of a Hamas big shot, and of course, as you could tell by what he said, they have had some divergence in their values and whatnot. And it made me really sort of sad. I mean, of course, the dad disowned him. I've known people through my life, probably most of you have, whose maybe dads or moms have disowned them in the family. The girl gets pregnant or starts dating a black dude, or what else is there? Oh, comes out of the closet. And so instead of like embracing that flesh and blood of yours and what they are, I mean, you made them, they Archie Bunker style, and I can't have anything further to do with them. That sort of made me really sad. I mean, I know I should have gotten a lot more out of that video, but I already know that stuff, that all he said. It's just a matter of, the rest of you sleepers waking up and realizing what we're dealing with this religion of peace. Now, goodness, there's a list you can see of some of the atrocities. They can't catch all of them, but there's this nut website called thereligionofpeace.com, and they do list these attacks in the name of Allah in 2016. And as you can see, it's pretty voluminous. It's a lot of work these kids have been up to. And I was searching around the internet and whatnot, that maybe we could find an accompanying list to find the murders and the killings in the name of, say, Jesus or Yahweh or a Buddha or any of these other unseen gods that people, commit these atrocities in the name of, yet they're unseen. They're, a father and son can bond, can be can be broken and can be, somehow tainted by a belief system. I mean, even going back to our own founding, most people don't know that Benjamin Franklin, who was, instrumental to the founding of the United States and the Revolution and whatnot, he was a revolutionary. He was with the revolutionaries, that wanted to break away from Great Britain. His son, on the other hand, was a British loyalist. Now, it never came down to the fact that they were both in an alley together, only alone. What's it going to be, son? Whatever. Any consternation between father and son that doesn't involve, sullying the family name in some way, it just made me really sad. But this was just about one guy was in the army, in the British Army. He didn't want to piss away his career, the son, and you've got this big thinker, his dad, Benjamin Franklin, who was with the revolutionaries. Point is, anything that can break a bond between a father and son is worthy of some introspection and some consideration. This poor guy, Yusuf, disowned by his own father. How sad is that? Because of this God who doesn't exist or is not known positively to exist. Unfucking believable. And then killing in the name of. Killing in the name of, and don't kid yourself. Oh, they're all Jesus. They're blah, blah, blah. It's Whitey. It's KKK. Bullshit. Bullshit. You see the list. They're killing in the name of this religion of peace. And that guy just explained a lot for you. Now, what I'd like to see is an accompanying list. This would go a long way to help me and my rather, I talk a lot to other people. I express my opinions when I can. I'd like to see a list of, next to that list, okay, so they killed a lot of people in the name of this Allah. This guy whose taste, whose only method of allowing you to prove yourself is killing in his name and forcing others to become of that same religion. It blows. It blows. Let's see a list next to that list, okay? It's an accompanying list. And that list lists contributions to modern society. That list might include things like artistic endeavors that shook the world since the 7th fucking century that these people seem to be rooted in. Where's the literature? Where's the music? Where's the political innovation? It's nowhere. And you know why it's nowhere? Because it's a stifling situation. It does not breed innovation. For innovation, you need freedom. You need freedom of thought. You need freedom of movement. You need freedom of association. And above all, you need freedom of religion or freedom from religion if that's what you choose. Okay? So let me see that list. Let's see some contributions. And I don't mean the guy that they hired to friggin' train the camels in the Civil War or whatever. I think they fired that guy anyway, and the camels were too fucking slow. Whatever it was. There hasn't been, unlike Barry likes to say in speeches, how much Islam and Muslims have contributed and they helped build this country. The fuck out of here. Zero. And right now, they're looking like kind of a burden, to be honest with you. I mean, they seem like the problem child, if you will, or even the girlfriend, or for those of you who have played in rock bands, the drummer. Oh, he takes so long. He's got to, smoke, and he's got to put it back in the cases. Let's go. But if he's a badass drummer, you're fucking carrying his shit. Let's go. Hey, yeah. It's no burden. This is becoming a burden. It's becoming harder and harder to, even for these Democrats who, for whatever reason, just want to bow down to these guys. They, and the other governments, of course, they, with the refugees and all this stuff. Oh, they're just, for example, Did you know that in the French attack at the Bataclan nightclub, that the French media and government, and we have the same shit going on, the same media government complex going on in the US, they hid even more atrocities than the 100 and whatever people that were killed, okay? They mowed down people, that's true, but what you never heard was, and what I'm telling probably most of you right now for the first time, guess what else they did, this religion of peace, in the name of Allah? They disemboweled people. They gouged their eyeballs out. They cut their nuts off, and this one's kind of funny, cramming them down their throats. This wasn't reported, though. This was not widely reported. For the one of you that knows this, bravo. But most people wouldn't know it. They're too busy making a living to find out, and they don't know where to go to find it. So why? Why this bending over backwards not to offend these people? I just don't get it. I can't get it through my mind. But you know what else I couldn't get through my mind? All that time, I mean, it takes a while to gouge somebody's eyes out, and certainly takes a while to cut somebody's nuts off and jam it down their throat, doesn't it? I mean, it's got to. Think about it. I haven't done it lately. Think how many more people they could have killed. They were wasting time. They could have been blasted, and meanwhile, I gotta get these nuts off of here and get them down that guy's throat. Anyway, of course, it's an extreme example, but it is a demonstration of the religion of peace, and why it's got very little to do and very little in common with the American way of life, with our Constitution, with our institutional freedoms, with our, some people say, including me, exceptionalism. That exceptionalism isn't an accident. They're jealous of it. They hate it. They hate us for it. They even hate us for the fact that a black guy can become president. They hate it. All in the name of this unseen God. Yeah, so, there's a certain sleight of hand. I mentioned the government media complex, and it only happens, by the way, when there's Democrats in power. They love Barry. They love Hillary. They cannot stand the thought of a Trump presidency. So what happens is, you've got the Republican convention going on. You've got the Democratic convention coming up. You've got, other things that are, kind of in the news. Kanye and Kim and Taylor. Oh, my word. There's a whole kerfuffle there. And we forget about the people streaming across the border every single day. Wide open border. No allegiance to the United States. Just have heard that it's a better life. And in some cases, too many cases, unfortunately, seek to do us harm. Or possibly, or certainly not add to the stew, if you will, okay? And of course, I'm talking about the refugees, Syrian refugees, or any refugees. I mean, you can claim to be a political refugee, and like I told you last week with the story about Gunther, the Gunther family, one being a scientist, and the pretty wife is very active in her PTA back in Sweden, and he's got a bunch of money in the bank. He's got a job waiting for him here. You got to wait, dude. You got to go to the back of the line. But if your name is and speak no English and have no skills whatsoever, and no money, and maybe a little case of TB, and an inherent hatred of the United States, although you've heard that the climate is nice and it's better than the sandy oasis shitbox hellhole you came from, come on in. And Barry's accelerating all this stuff. Because we have to resettle these refugees. We have to be humanitarians. We have to be humanitarians. These are people. Yeah, there's people. Sure, there are people. But we got people too. We got our own losers. Do we really need to import hundreds of thousands of other fucking worthless losers. Here's how we do humanitarian. Saudi Arabia, Hillary's buddy, funding her whole campaign. These guys, they love Hillary. Love her. Love Bush too. Love all globalists. They have 100,000 air-conditioned tents sitting around. They could house 3 million Muslim Syrian refugees. Now, I don't know how big these fucking tents are. If it's 100, I'm trying to do the math there, producer boy. 100,000 tents, 3 million. I mean, aren't you putting like 300 people in each tent? These are friggin' giant tents. Anyway, they're air conditioned, which is nice. None of these fucking toothless bastards has ever seen an air conditioner, let alone chilled in a tent with one. Now, they're just sitting there. Yet, Saudi Arabia won't take one of these refugees and has not done so. Now, why not? Why can't we put a little muscle on them? Listen, dicks, rather than us jet these refugees across the world, why don't we just fly them over there? We'll even guard them. We'll send U.S. troops, whatever you want. You know, they won't get out. They won't be raping your women, as desirable as your women are. Not. But no. We have to bring them here. We have to bring them to the United States. And that's Barry's plan, and we know why. And we're seeing signs of it. All of these killings are involving, once again, as I said, in the name of Allah and ISIS and all this stuff. And it's sowing civil unrest by design. Not just by Barry's design. Barry's just a pawn in all of this, but yet he's a valuable pawn because he brings a great cadre as being, even though not respected, he still is the leader of the free world. What's free of it left, in our country? He's populated his own administration with like-minded people. He doesn't have to give them direct marching orders. They know what to do. They know what Barry wants. They all studied at the feet of Saul Alinsky and Karl Marx. And they know how to sow civil unrest and to pit groups against other groups. And, men are against women and blacks are against whites and poor is against rich and so forth and so on. And this foments a social unrest. And we're seeing some of that in these riots and these these protests at, this convention and that, here and there, these protests. But mainly we're seeing it with police shootings. Oh my word. Snipers on buildings just picking off cops. I mean, that's so depraved, isn't it? And in the name of what? They're emboldened by Barry. Barry emboldens them, and Hillary emboldens them. Oh, we need to listen. We need to listen to what these protesters are saying. They've got some good points. Well, yeah, the best way to get your point across, I've always found out, is to blow away a bunch of cops, a bunch of policemen who were there at your protest to stop you from getting fucked up or fucking each other up, which is what you do. So I'm just wondering if Loretta Lynch, the minute that, some arrest-resisting miscreant who just tried to grab a cop's gun but he had just come from robbing a store and he doesn't obey the police commands or he's doing this. It's always some miscreant, isn't it? The Baltimore policeman, another one was acquitted. The 4th out of 4 for that poor guy whose spine got fucked up in the back of the truck. He wasn't innocent either. What does our Attorney General do? Oh, we have to dispatch some civil rights lawyers down there immediately because Now let me ask you, Loretta, you tubby lady, are you going to be sending any civil rights lawyers down to, say, Dallas, where those policemen were gunned down in premeditated fashion? Completely innocent officers there to guard against any problems, any mayhem. These are the ones you target. Black Lives Matter. Sure they matter. That's why these guys were there protecting you. They're the ones. Black Lives Matter saving no lives, zero, black or otherwise. Now, Loretta, are you going to send down some civil rights lawyers? How about Baton Rouge? You going to send any down there? Because I haven't heard anything. Jesse Jackson's been tumbleweeds. And the other dope, Sharpton. Crickets. Nothing. Well, it seems to me like cold-blooded murder is some violation of some civil right, isn't it? This political season, it's convention season. The Republican convention just started. Melania Trump, the wife of Donald Trump, the 11th or 12th wife of Trump, made a speech that was, I thought, somewhat jarring in a good way. However, of course, the media and everyone jumped on it because she plagiarized supposedly Michelle Obama's speech. Well, that just gives you an example of, like I say, it's that sleight of hand. While all this is going on, Kim is fighting with Taylor and all this, and Melania is stealing Michelle's speech and all this stuff. What's really going on, okay, is that the borders are porous and whatnot. And, you know, cops are being killed, and yet we're fixated on her stealing a couple sentences from Michelle Obama. You can always tell when the leftists really beat up on somebody, like they've hammered Trump and tried to define him as this and that and this irrational, racist bigot and all this stuff. You can tell who they're really scared of. You know you've got the right guy if they all hate him. And when I say they, I mean the establishment media, the mainstream media, of course Hillary, and the whole Obama propaganda machine, which is also known as the mainstream media. I mean, the mainstream media in the United States is basically an offshoot, a PAC, if you will, a super PAC of the DNC. They put out the talking points and the media simply repeats them. Anyway, so did Melania Trump clip a couple lines from Michelle's speech? Yeah, maybe so. She nicked it, you know, but it's so generic stuff. Like, my parents instilled in me that you have to really work hard and you can become anything you want to be. I mean, you know, that kind of shit. You know, of course Obama said that. Michelle also said how proud she was of her husband and whatnot. Joe Biden plagiarized everybody. They all do it. Obama himself did it with his dopey buddy, what the hell's his buddy's name? Duvall something. It's not that big of a deal. What is a big deal, though, there might have been that slight general similarity. But what was a glaring and glowing and glistening and glittering difference was that Melania's speech talked about her pride and her privilege of being an American and her proudness and how happy and thrilled she is to be an American, and some of the hardships that she and her family had to endure to become an American. She studied, she took her test, all that stuff. Now, she's dumb as a bag of hammers. Let's get that right out of the way. What a piece of ass, though, this guy. Gotta tell you, this girl. My point is, the big difference, all you really need to know about the future First Lady, if she does become so, she loves America. Contrast that with Michelle Obama, whose crux of her speech was, for the first time in her life, she was proud to be an American. Why? Well, because her husband Barry was running. Okay, so did she then take that sort of feeling, and did she now go to the kids and say, look, kids, you can do this. You can do anything in America. You can come from the other side of the tracks. You can grow up to, go to Harvard and do anything you want to do. Work hard, blah, blah, blah. Nah, None of that. Just like Obama, squandering that opportunity, squandering the opportunity to utterly energize the youth of America. And I don't mean energize to go out and say hope and change and buy those stupid Che Guevara shirts. I'm talking about actually feel good about themselves rather than feel put upon by the man, rather than constantly be told that America is an oppressive and still a racist place, as there's a half black guy sitting in the White House. So that's what I took away from the Melania Trump thing. And again, you can tell they're scared to death of this lady. Why? Well, because she's hot. She's nice. She's sweet. She's got an accent. She loves her man. She loves this country. She's happy and grateful for everything that it's brought to her. Whereas Michelle is just a big-armed woman who has a chip on her shoulder and, really nothing good to say about America. Well, I mean, America has foot the bill for her mom to live in the White House for God knows how long. Taxpayers are eating that. Jesus Christ, if I'm president, no way I'm letting my mother-in-law live in the White House. The fuck out of here. You gotta be kidding me. Well, they got trips. They're taking trips all over the place. I mean, has there ever been a more traveled first family for vacation? Fun, all on the taxpayer's dime. So for Michelle to rag on America or anybody to make a big deal about a couple lines that were mildly similar to another speech, the fuck out of here. They're all similar. You know, all these speeches are very similar, rah, 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 rah. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to have somebody in the White House, a nice looking lady who's fun, who's not going to try to tell us what to eat and eat out of her herb garden and all this shit in the public schools and all that. How about just, communicate with the people, the real people. No chip on your shoulder. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so it goes by so fast. I think I need like a 3-hour show because I can't hear myself talk enough. Now, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and of course, you can email me, email us, realwtfamerica@gmail. And I want to tell you one last thing. I love you.
What the fuck America did to me? Trickery or conspiracy? Good white girl, not Hillary, kidding me. Nothing gonna change my sensibility. Life's a bitch, give it all the chivalry. Overheard in a romance.